Hey dreamers, Bryce here from Midnight Notion, singer-songwriter, musician, big fan of Metallica, but I have no idea what my favorite Metallica song is. Could it be Where the Wild Things Are? Let's use math to find out. Cue the intro.
So Ted, give it to me now!
For the best Metallica song! Where the Wild Things Are, one of my favorite books from my childhood. I'm all about that imagination. I'm all about the dream state and the difference between dream and reality. I may or may not be writing my own novel trilogy that has to do with the difference between dream and reality that also references the book Where the Wild Things Are. So let's see if the song is that good. We're going to listen to it. Me and you, as besties, I'm going to stop it. Anytime I hear something interesting, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to grade it using the following categories: composition, memorability, emotional response, instrumentation, and of course, lyrics. Each category is a score of 0 to 4 with a grand total of 20 possible points. We'll find out at the end if this has what it takes to get to the top 20, which is technically a top 19 because we have a three-way tie for 19th place. Don't get at me. The math saith so. This is going to need at least 17 to get there. And you know what? I think this song isn't so bad. I think I used to skip it a lot, but not so much anymore. Let's make sure you hit that subscribe button though, because 1,000 subscribers would be like the Christmas gift sent from whatever is above in this world. Great Cthulhu would no longer lead his wrath upon me if you hit that 1,000 subscribers. Please get Cthulhu out of my head. He's in my head. Oh, you did it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. You're awesome. I hope your day is great. Where the Wild Things Are. Here we go. I do really appreciate that that ba-da-doo-ka. It happens a lot all over Metallica's discography, but there's something really interesting to me about a nice ba-da-doo-ka. You're emphasizing the two with the snare and the cymbal all over the place. It's classic Lars. It's what he does in like almost every song, but I love it. So much to talk about. I keep listening to the song with a smile on my face. I love that this is this the first song on this record where we get sort of a softer, I guess we had The Unforgiven too, but we have a nice clean intro. We had some cymbal rolls in there that had sort of a flange to them. Again, that sweeping EQ to get that sort of same thing from Slither. Really eerie sort of intro. We have some time signature changes. You noticed I was counting. There was a 6/4 in there. We could potentially just call this 10/4, I guess. We'll count it in 10/4. That way you don't have to change the measure. I think ideally when you're writing out sheet music on paper, on a staff, you typically don't want to have the meter change every other bar, right? Unless it's written intentionally that way, like one song that I've written before that isn't released, but it is out there somewhere. You don't want the bar to change too often. You want to find the common time. And so I think if you were to write this as 4/4/6/4, 4/4/6/4, 4/4/6/4, that's doable. You could do 4/4/4/4/2/4, 4/4/4/4/2/4. And that's doable as well. But imagine how often you would have to write that break when you could just cover the whole riff in 10/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you don't have to write the bar change so often. So I would argue that it's probably a 10/4 riff. That's just my opinion. I'm just some guy on the internet.
Dreams that give to you. Shoplift the thought. It's time to save your world.
10, 9, 3.
You're where the wild things are.
Nice. Oh, I love that. There was this nice little tss, that was a splash cymbal. I love this so much. The verse, I didn't cover much of anything because I'm enjoying the song. The verse's vocals feel very grungy. There's a very Alice in Chains feel. There's a very dissonant harmony going, and it's not for everyone. As a matter of fact, it's not even really for me that much. I think that it's a little... I don't know what better word to use than eerie. It's just off-putting. But I think that in this song, it's kind of intentional. It's trying to be that way. It's almost like a dream. It's like drifting off into a hallucination. We've had a lot of talk on the last record and this record about addiction and the way that it affects people. Sin is another common theme that's coming out, and lustfulness and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like this one could be in the middle. This is like when Dumbo drinks from the alcohol. That I don't even remember the last time I saw the movie Dumbo, but it's terrible and does not hold up at all. And for some reason, in a 60-minute movie about a flying elephant, he flies in like the last 10 seconds, and that's it. But anyway, that aside, this feels very like dreamy. And it could be a dream, like falling asleep having a nightmare, a la something like Enter Sandman, or it could be, I'll have to analyze the lyrics later. I have this thing where I listen to the song and then I read the lyrics. But either way, they're making something very eerie, dreamlike, very nightmare-y. And I think that grungy, weird, dissonant harmony suits well to that. So is the song listenable as just I want to rock out? Maybe not. But is it artistically crafted? Yes, it is.
Toy soldiers off to war.
This riff is so cool.
Big eyes to open soon. Bleeding out under sun and moon. What does heaven know you're here?
I think that this riff is very interesting. I was trying to count it out because it seems odd to me. The kick drum and the cymbal are emphasizing the one. Lars is coming down on the one, which is rare for him. And the guitars are not. Usually when you get a psh, you also get a bump, you know, like there's a downbeat of the guitar. This time they're doing an offbeat. They're doing the palm mutes on the one, but they're doing they're coming on the offbeat. And so the instruments aren't synced in. They're not locked tightly like they are for most of their songs. And that's what's giving us this weird, like, wait, are we in common time? Are we in an odd time? Are we like messing with the measure or the meter? I don't think so. I think it falls in 4/4, but it's just because the guitars aren't quite matching the drums that gives us that odd feeling. Artistic, cool. Listenable, favorite song worthy? I'll find out.
And did they give you smiles or tears? No, no tears.
Pay attention to this. Build down.
Will this be good to you? Keep you clean or stay through?
2, 3, 4, 5,
Wake up,
6.
sleepy one. It's time to save your world. You're where the wild things are. Yeah.
Do you hear that break in his voice? Yeah, yeah. There's a yeah, yeah. That broke. Really interesting.
Toy soldiers off to war.
Wow, straight into the solo. 3 or 4. I don't know for sure, but I like that when they go into the solo and they bring it up to a new note in the key. Interesting. I don't talk a lot about this, but the guitar solos have a tendency sometimes, not in every solo, but I think a good, well-written, singable solo, a memorable solo, has elements of the endings that I talk about in every other video. I talk about setting up a riff where there's one bar and then the second bar is the ending, and then you repeat the first bar and then you have a different ending, and then you go back to the first bar, you might repeat the first ending again, back to the first bar, and now there's a third ending as well. When you do that, that's like a song structure, like composition 101. And even when you're doing a solo, having some sort of a structure, right? It's a little higher, and then coming back, doing something like that, repeating little motifs over and over and over again can get you a really, really memorable place, and it can make the climbs and the changes, like when you go to a different part of the key, it can pay those off better because you're setting an expectation, you're paying it off, and then you're going somewhere else. It's just storytelling. Same thing happens. If you watch a movie and they're like, hey, we're going to go on an adventure, and then they never go on an adventure, you're not going to come back to that movie. You want to see them go on that adventure. But you also are very interested when they say, we're going to go on an adventure, and there's something that stops them. And you're like, oh no, they can't go on the adventure now. Why not? And they're like, but we're going to try anyway. And then they fail and they fail. There's something interesting about that. The same goes for songwriting. When you build a drum fill, right? You play it a second time. Oh, now the third time you're anticipating it, you switch it up. You've changed the thinking. You surprise them with something new. That's where you create interest. Good job. Just a march. Little bass. There is something interesting going on with the bass. It's not normal. There's something about the attack. I don't know if this is a different bass. It sounds like he's very high up on the neck, that he's playing pretty, like it might be a higher string, but he's really up there, but it almost sounds percussive. Now I know Jason plays with a pick, and picks have that attack to them, but I'm for some reason imagining something a little bit more creative. I'm imagining Tony Levin. If you don't know Tony Levin, check him out. Amazing bassist. He's played with people like Peter Gabriel and I don't know, just a bunch of others. He's kind of a studio guy and a live guy. And he's got this thing he does where he tapes, not tapes, but there's probably a system for it. But he's basically got drumsticks on his fingers, a literal drumstick on the edge of his finger. And he uses that, boo, 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 boo. And he plays the bass with that. And that gives even more attack. It's not the same as a scrape of a pick. It's a percussive do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. And I'm imagining something like that. Now, I cannot confirm. I've not gone to find out if Jason is doing something like that, but I hear something that doesn't sound like a normal electric bass. It could be an acoustic bass. It could be just a different kind of bass. I'm not a bass wizard. I don't know all of the information there is to know about basses. All I know is that this sounds a little different than someone just picking at a bass. So something to point out. Now he's lower. He's an octave lower. just imagining that whole time the heffalumps and woozles. Is anyone else listening like traumatized by heffalumps and woozles? Because let me tell you, that sequence is terrifying as a child. It's laughable now, but it's scary, right? Tell me in the comments below, what's the scariest children's animation you've ever seen? Was it Dumbo? Was it Heffalumps and Woozles from Winnie the Pooh? Was it friggin' the Great Mouse of Minsk from An American Tail? Because I have to say, that's one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. And don't put Watership down because it's not a children's movie. But I want to know what your scariest children's movie is in the comments below. That's what I was imagining to this part. Now, I will say I got a little distracted because I was listening to the bass thing. I know that the vocals are trying to evoke some sort of horror, lingering horror, like, oh, what's around me? What's coming after me? And that's, what they did. They do that effectively. But I think that I'm kind of falling off of the song. I'm not losing it entirely, but I'm not in the right mood for this one. This is an art piece, and it's good to make art pieces sometimes, but is this something you're going to put on loop and listen to it over and over? Probably not. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't want it to end. Like, I'm not like watching the clock going like, oh, when is it going to be over? But I am falling off a little bit. So just feel like I should note that. Long note. Reference. Nice. All right. Well, let's give this sucker some points, huh? Whoosh. Composition. Now we have, for the first time in a long time, a song with a changing meter. We finally have those extra beats in there. I've been looking for it all the way since, boy, I don't even know. What was the last time? Until It Sleeps, probably, had 6/4. Other than that, we've been in mostly common time, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I'm not here to memorize all of that. All I'm here to say is that there's a 10/4, and I think that's interesting. I love the clean guitar riffs in the beginning and throughout. I think there's a really cool that feel is really cool. Compositionally, we have half a chorus at the beginning. We have a verse, a chorus, a verse, a chorus, a bridge, and a chorus, and an outro. Not much different there. I think there's a lot to be celebrated, but I don't really know where to fall on this one, because while I do appreciate the time signature changes, I do appreciate the change between the clean and the distortion. I think where this falls compositionally is that it's more artsy than it is listenable. And I think when I'm looking for a favorite song, I'm not grading these on whether or not they're good art, because every single one of these songs is good art in some way and another. Yes, this is accurately depicting this sort of dreamscape sort of thing. But is it listenable? I don't know that it really is. It doesn't feel like it to me. The dissonance in the verses and that bridge are so disorienting that it's not actually enjoyable to listen to, if that makes sense. Like it is kind of, but not quite. And I think it's intentional, that it's like intentionally done that way, but that doesn't make it necessarily fun to listen to. So I don't know, you got to be in a mood for it. And so I don't know which way to swing on this one. So compositionally, I'm going to just stick right in the middle and give this one a 2. Memorability. I think there are a few things in here to make the song memorable. That clean riff in the intro, "Toy Soldiers on the Run." I think even the whole chorus, the beat. In a rare situation, I think the first line of the chorus is more memorable than the last line. Typically, you find a chorus with the hook on the end, but "So wake up, little one," or "Weary one," or "Dreamy one," or whatever the lyrics are. When he says that, see, I can't even remember what the line is. That should be a bad sign. But I think that's more memorable than probably the rest of the song. And I think there are a few things about this song that make it memorable, but I think it doesn't stick as well as it should. And I think that a lot of the reason why the song is memorable is because it's the one that's more artsy than it is listenable. I keep saying that, but that's what I feel. When I listen to this song, or when I think about this song before listening to it, I think, oh, that's the one with the eerie stuff, with the dissonant chords and the imagery painted into the music. And yes, that's kind of memorable, but I don't actually find myself singing anything from this song. I just remember it as a piece. Does that make sense? It's more a painting than it is a song. And so for that, I'm kind of not really feeling like it's super memorable. Don't know where to go on this one either, so we'll give it a 2. Emotional response. I will say that I'm mostly positive about this song. I don't hate it. I don't think it's on the crap list, but I have to say that I'm not also craving it. I don't need them to play this live. I would be excited to hear it. I would sing along. I would probably get most of the words wrong, but I would enjoy seeing what they do with it live. But I don't think they're going to bring it anytime soon because it sucks the mood out when you're jamming and jamming. You got this just bluesy rock. You got, we just came out of some really fun songs, Bad Seed and Carpe Diem, bang in our head. Now this kind of just flop. And it's a little depressing. And so because of that mood suck, I can't say that I'm really positive about it, but I'm also not negative. It's a good try. I'm right in the middle. Emotional response, that's a 2. Instrumentation. Again, they're doing fine. They're doing just well enough. They're playing some interesting things. I like most of the grooves in this song. I am pulling it down because I didn't feel captured by that solo. I felt like this song actually might have done better without a solo? Question mark? I don't know. There's something about, I'm not saying that it was a bad solo. It was just kind of meh. It was just kind of there. It felt like it existed because a solo needed to happen. It felt like begrudgingly, like I owe a solo, so I better just do one anyway. We've already talked about how Kirk has been falling off the solo train for the last 2 albums. This song kind of is where I'm feeling the solos are out. It didn't really do much. It was just kind of there. It had some interesting points in it, but I kind of got distracted. I kind of found myself wandering away. So instrumentally, I'm going to keep them right in the middle on this one too. It's a 2. Lyrics. There's a lot of interesting things in here. We have a lot of talk about a sleepy one, wake up sleepy one. That's the words I was looking for. Oh, this song is making me tired. They use the magic D word, dreams. You know me, I love dreams. Somewhere in Dream World is available wherever you get your music online. What I like here is steal dreams and give to you, shoplift a thought or two. What I imagine is being painted in this song is a child playing with their toys, a young kid using toy soldiers and like I want to go to a later part of the song. This whole bridge section, there was a lot of stuff going on, these voices in the background. I want to read this to you. You swing your rattle down, and then in parentheses, hand puppets storm the beach. Fire trucks trapped out of reach. Okay, that's an interesting little ad, but we have swinging the rattle down, where the rattle could be a hammer of justice, right? This is the rattle. This kid is training themselves to become a world leader that like comes down on people, and then the toy soldiers are being pushed by the child. The powers that be are commanding soldiers, right? You don't have your own. You're not on your own orders when you're in the military. You go where you're told to go. You shoot what you're told to shoot. That's what they're saying. And this they're putting it in the framing device of a child playing with toys. The child is maybe a big man with orange hair or an orange face, just kind of playing with its toys and telling it what to do and not just being kind of reckless, right? Continuing. Call to arms, the trumpets sound. And then we have parentheses again. Hand puppets storm the beach, fire trucks trapped out of reach. We've heard that before. All clowns reinforce the rear, slingshots fire into the air. Okay, so we have this section with the fire trucks and the hand puppets that is just said once. Then it comes back and it's said again, but we add two more lines with the clowns and the slingshots. Then we have a new line. Toy horses start the charge. And then in parentheses again, all clowns reinforce the rear, slingshots fire into the air, stuffed bears hold the hill till death, crossfire from the marionettes. Again, we're doing this interesting thing where here's two lines, here's those same two lines again with two new lines, here's the two new lines again with two new lines, and then here's those two new lines again with one more at the end. The final one is we shall never surrender. So we're adding all these toys. We got bears, we got marionettes, we got toy soldiers. We're playing. They're all battling on the beach. The fire trucks are over here, but they're out of reach. It's just this massive collision of powers. And it's just a kid playing with its toys. And I think that is a really, really interesting framing device. If you don't know what I mean when I say framing device, that's like, I talked a lot about movies on this channel, or I guess just recently, but storytelling. This is storytelling. Framing device, I would say, Titanic. That's a major film that a lot of people saw. The framing device is that it doesn't start on the Titanic. We don't start on like Jack and Rose getting on board. We start with people exploring the depths of the ocean, discovering the Titanic, finding this painting, finding the old woman. It's like several minutes into the film before we even see the actual Titanic. What about The Princess Bride? We don't start with Wesley and the prince. We've got a kid sick and his grandpa reading him stories. That's the framing device. We have one story. The framing device is the external story, the extra story. And this framing device is a child playing with his toys, but what the song is really saying is something about the military machine and the control of the government and the military and like just, I don't know, it could be even deeper than that. It could be just like the control of higher powers, of the rich onto the poor. It could be of gods among men, like the divine beasts manipulating the children on earth. It could be any variety of things, but there's a bigger power controlling a little power as if it's just a toy. And that to me is a really, really strong and powerful lyric. I think there's a lot to be celebrated in these words. I've overanalyzed this to death, but that's how I feel. Very strongly. Well done. Lyrically, 4 points. And so Where the Wild Things Are gets a grand total of 12 points, which is 5 shy of the top 20, which is technically a 19. It is currently in 52nd spot, 52nd place out of 70. Have I really done 70 videos already? Oh my God, it's been going so fast. That's crazy. But yes, 52nd place out of 70. So not terrible, but they've got better, and that's fine. Let's take a look at the top 20, which is technically a top 19 because of the three-way tie at the bottom, and 19th place, the three-way tie, of course, with Devil's Dance. All the Reload songs. We've got plenty of ties on here, plenty of ties to go. So now it's your turn. I know this was a long video, but I want you to use the same criteria I used. Really analyze it to the best you can and tell me what score you would give this song. Make sure to check out my music, Midnight Notion. Transmission is available all over the place on the internet. If you can't find it, let me know. I'll figure out how to get it to you. I want to know. I want to share my music with you. It's my gift to you. I would appreciate the streams. And of course, smash that subscribe button. We're looking for 1,000 subscribers by tomorrow. I know it's not going to happen by tomorrow, but that's okay. We're going to get by February, right? Because this whole journey ends in February. And I hope that we can keep going with more songs after that by other artists. But for now, I'm going to need that 1,000. So share it with your friends. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to talk to some sort of royalty. We'll see what he has to say. Thanks for watching.